Hello, am I audible?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our FDP. We are extremely sorry for the delay of 13 minutes. We would be starting in about 2 minutes. Thank you so much for your patience. Within 2 minutes, we will be starting our session. We are also sharing the YouTube live link in the FDP groups. So you can tell your friends, people who are not able to join due to the maximum participant list. Your friends could join us via YouTube live. And during the session, you can keep posting your comments in the chat box, whatever doubts or questions if you have regarding the FTP, you can post them in the chat box. We would be using that to ask the speaker. Thank you so much for being connected with us. We'll start within about 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to the second day of the FDP. Today's topic is digital literacy and language skills. We have with us Dr. Madhavi Kesari, who completed her PhD in ELT from Osmania University and MPhil in ELT from the Institute of English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. She has 16 years of teaching and research experience. Her research and academic interests are in designing task-based ESP courses, multiple intelligence visual literacies, and employing flipped classroom methods of teaching, learning engagement strategies, innovative methods, and behaviorist approach to language learning. She has authored 5 books, published 43 scholarly articles, and presented 28 papers at various national and international conferences and seminars. She has also organized 24 workshops on English language teaching and learning and delivered a number of invited talks on employing eclectic approaches to language learning. She has contributed significantly to the design and development of curriculum for a PhD program offered in the School of ELT, Linguistics and Literature. She is co-team member of Center of Educational Technology and Teaching Learning Center at NIT Warangal. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you, ma'am. Over to Madhavi, ma'am. Madhavi, ma'am, are you connected?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Batool, for that brief introduction. And very good morning to all the online viewers. I extend a warm welcome to today's session on digital literacy and language skills. Second in the series of various guest lectures that are proposed to be organized as part of this one-week FDP conducted at Bharat Institute of Technology. So it's been a great privilege and opportunity to be interacting with you and to be sharing some of my insights related to the use of digital tools. But before that, primarily, theoretically, what would digital literacy mean? Though we have become well-versed and quite confident with the use of digital literacy, however, we are going to look at as part of this workshop. Excuse me. Good morning. Yes. Sir, please come down. I'm sorry about that. So we are going to throw a light on the theoretical perspective of digital literacy. Though we are well acquainted with it, we have been using it quite confidently and quite comfortably and in a very accommodative manner, either in the form of networking, either in the form of using flipped classroom methods as part of our teaching, or during COVID times, of course, thanks to COVID, that we got exposed to various tools to be used in terms of assessment, in terms of making teaching learning interesting, and also in terms of collecting data. I think it encompasses all rounds at all levels of our dealing with people at the institutional level and at the societal level. So that gives us, a broader perspective of understanding digital literacy. If I'm permitted to share my screen. Yeah, I would like to share my screen, please.
Hi, ma'am. You have the access to share the screen. I've granted it to you.
Now it popped up, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Nicholas, I hope the slides are visible to you. Let me minimize this. Yeah, computing or digital literacy is not about computers anymore, but then it is about living. So, reluctantly, perhaps initially there were signs of reluctance. There were signs of aversion for various reasons, either lack of operation, lack of knowledge, lack of interest, emanating from lack of interest for various reasons. But then we have gradually come to terms with the use of digital tools in our day-to-day lives, either willingly or inadvertently. Yes, inadvertently also we learned. So I'm sure all of you have experienced this. You have used your Google Classroom for your classes. You must have given them a sign. Even now that trend continues. Post-COVID also, though we are back to classrooms, back to the physical modes of operation. However, we cannot dispense with it. It's still, the digital thoughts do linger in us, in our minds, and we cannot totally dispense. I'm told in the recent meetings held with the heads and deans that one of the reasons for students not attending to classes or students having shortage of attendance is their inability to sit all through the day in the classrooms, as they are defined as COVID batch, who never attended to classes for the last 2 years and during their intermediate, and now they are back to the mainstream, and then they experience this kind of discomfort or discomfiture to be seated at a stretch in the classroom. So primarily, teachers have admitted that, yes, this is, and the Google sheet has been circulated to help us overcome that problem. How do we improvise our teaching learning process? How do we enable students to how do we overcome this attendance shortage problem? Or otherwise, even failures. The questionnaire has many other, the Google form has many questions pertaining to academics. So we are banking on a digital tool even in that context, though it is not directly connected to us. So we are creating the scope and the opportunity, and we are rather expanding the opportunities to make use of digital tools, if not directly into academics and pedagogy, but otherwise also. I would also like to quote that share that some of the higher education organizations, IIT, it is already in practice, and some of the NITs have started implementing this MSME and the Smile portal, wherein data is all digitized, whether it is uploading marks, viewing the marks, uploading the results, grades. Students get to view their marks once they type their roll numbers. And I can apply my CL or casual leave form online. So gradually it is also getting integrated into our administrative domains or territories. So that's what I mean when I say, when I try to define or interpret digital literacy. It's not just confined to classrooms and teachings, but it is all about, again, I go back to my previous quote by Nicholas that computing or synonym, which is synonymous with digital literacy, is no more about dealing with computers or phones, mobile phones, but then it is about living altogether. Even you are pretty aware of making telephone bills online, payments, electricity bills online. For corrections, for applying for credit cards, you can try online. Purchasing has become online. Hence, I believe this statement is quite befitting and quite relevant to the theme of the workshop FDP on digital literacy. Yeah, so having said that, we would be looking at, more closely what would digital literacy mean and why is it essential. So parallelly, you would also be surprised to know that there are several updates. One has to update one's skills. If I've learned something today, that becomes unconventional tomorrow. So there's a threat. So we have to foresee such threats or insecurities. Yeah, you can define it, in either way. So there is a threat, in the process of teachers looking at the process of teaching learning as a continuous process, CPD, continuous professional development. So there is a desperate need for us not only to, have a better outlook of what is happening today, the present tools, but also the future. What is future going to be? Future of education going to be 10 or 20 years from now? What kind of transformation we would witness? So in that context, NEP also, National Education Policy also has opened a plethora of opportunities, adventurous and challenging opportunities for educational organizations to adapt to these technologies in various forms. If you have known about what NEP thrusts on at the higher education institutes, especially with the introduction of academic bank of credits and multiple exit and entry system. These are the prominent features or highlights of a new National Education Policy 2020. So how do the universities and higher education adapt to this? And is it possible to achieve this without technology is something to be thought of? So with the integration of technology and digital tools, again, the expansion of or inclusion of interdisciplinary and intradisciplinary themes, topics in the research or even in the curriculum would be made possible. So preparedness about future. When I say there's a need for teachers working for various educational organizations and also for researchers with the proclivity to teach. There's a need to contemplate on how future is going to be. So future is definitely going to be challenging. You would witness many innovative ideas, thoughts, practices everywhere. We never imagined that we would get to pay our phone bill or get to transfer money online maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Of course, 10 years ago, we were doing it. But with the advent of online banking system. So that is the kind of future one has to have an understanding. So it's essential to have an understanding, and then preparedness comes next. How prepared am I to face this novelty, face this challenge that future is going to bestow upon the world? And then how do I train and adapt myself? These are the questions one should be asking oneself in the midst of digitization. So if we take a look at the slides, some more definitions of digital literacy, which have put it in a nutshell for you in a more practical manner. So digital literacy can be defined as a notion that encompasses all the knowledge and abilities required to navigate a knowledge-based society in which access to information is mediated by technical instruments. Yes. So to do away with paperwork, and over a period of time, it is going to get extended beyond classrooms. It's going to happen beyond classrooms, as I said, in admin level. And then digital literacy incorporates skills included in traditional definitions of literacy, such as the ability to read, write, and analyze numerical data. So it is all of this. It is also coupled with, if you take a look at the last point and on the slide, you need to be educated in applying or in making use of a variety of cognitive and technical skills. So that should be coupled with the cognition as well. Proper understanding, know-how, technical and cognitive. Yeah, in a nutshell, again, you have the description of what would digital literacy mean in terms of collaboration, cultural and social understanding, critical thinking and evaluation, functional skills, effective communication, e-safety. Safety is more important rather than, making optimal use of the technology, but then e-safety. How do you guard yourself from all kinds of cyber thefts or manipulations? Meeting loan. If we move on to take a look at, in a survey on EduCause, the concept of digital literacy encompasses a range of skills and knowledge necessary to evaluate, use, and create digital information in various forms, such as, and interestingly, you have something called data literacy, information literacy, visual literacy, media literacy, and meta literacy. Meta literacy is a novel term. Perhaps you have known it or you may not have known. Yeah, meta literacy is the ability to evaluate information for its bias, reliability, and credibility, and apply them in the context of production and sharing of knowledge. It's especially useful in the context of the internet and social media. Evaluating critically, it is to do with cognition partially as well. You try to evaluate a piece of information for its reliability, validity, and then the kind of choices that you exercise, the decisions that you make calls for a higher level of thinking, especially in the context of using internet and social media. Now, what kind of tools have you used in your classrooms? I should be posing you a question like confidently and how frequently have you used these kind of tools, or what kind of tools have you used in the classroom during post-COVID times? Are you still in the habit of employing those tools off and on one? If I can get to hear from you, I would be glad to hear from the participants if they can be unmuted. If the organizers can unmute and tell us about your experience of using these tools now post-COVID. Do you find it convenient given the time constraints and given the psychological mindset of the students? So what are the differences? What kind of differences do you experience in making use of these tools during and post-COVID times? At least 2 tools you could think of, and you could share your experience, please. I have about 100 participants. I could see that 100 participants are attending to this session, and anybody can raise their hand and they may be permitted to speak if there's a provision for that. Okay, Google Classroom, Zoom, Facebook, WhatsApp. All right. What purpose have you been using? Does it have any specific objective other than posting assignments on WhatsApp? Don't tell me I'm using mobile to forward the information. But then there should be a systematic approach. Okay, Shashidhar says that to manage slow learners and for assessment, what tool have you been using, Mr. Shashidhar? Google Quiz, all right, good, fine. Foreign, even foreign students, I'm dealing with Merit Hub board, been posting authentic material, all right. Have you ever used quizzes? Have you ever tried using quizzes or Nearpod, Mentimeter? Good, wonderful. Yeah, Kahoot, good. Right, towards the end of this session, I'm going to share with you one such tool One is related to improving pronunciation, where students have access to recording their own voice. They could imitate. Yeah, Kahoot for quiz. Good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Podcast, wonderful, wonderful. Podcast also can be used as one of the tools to, motivate learners, either as an introductory or while teaching activity for teaching writing or for teaching reading. Even Padlet, I think you can try using Padlet also, where you could get to view their ideas and their notes, where the class gets to view it. The entire class, whoever is in the group, gets to view the ideas or assignments, reviews shared by all the participants. Padlet is like a bulletin board where you create it. You can log in. All these tools mostly are free and without any. Initially, I think they're available for 1 month for trial version. So they're quite convenient, and you have to log in to access them. And then you could create and tailor the material to suit your needs, like whatever that has inbuilt material related to quizzes, grammar, adjectives, listening, reading, all the 4 skills. So those of you who have not tried must try out using these tools at least once in 2 months. In your semester, you should have used at least 2 tools. You should expose the students to the use of at least two of these tools, be it Padlet, podcast, or quizzes, or Nearpad, etc. All right, thank you for your responses. So I'm going to share 2 new tools. One is related to pronunciation and other is related to, again, it is similar to Nearpod and other tools. Yeah, that's called, I'll explain. I have the slides once we are through with this theory part. Information, ability to find, evaluate, and use information from various digital sources. Skills include conducting effective internet search. Yeah, the digital literacy is divided into 4 components. One is information literacy, communication and collaboration, digital security and privacy, media literacy. Yeah. So the last one is similar to meta. It calls for meta thinking, meta level, meta literacy, which we have come across in the previous interpretation. I could see a question on the chat box, what meta literacy is. So ability to understand the validity and reliability of a message or of a content, how true it is, how fake is it. So sometimes we are carried away with the kind of posts that are sent to WhatsApp, and then you are likely to act on it. So that is one example. Otherwise, also about on social media, any information that pops up in social media. So how reliable is it? Is it from horse's mouth, or is it only fraudulent information? One should be able to judge. One should have that kind of perspicacity to evaluate the information, because anything these days is possible to be posted on social media. So that genuineness, authenticity of the material should also be tested before you act upon. That's quite essential. So information literacy is again various resources. Internet searches. Yeah, not all of us are very good at making advanced searches and to look for reliable information. Sometimes when you're looking for some report, if I would want to know recently some projects proposals, like some funding bodies have called for project proposals. So in that context, I had to seek some preliminary data, collect preliminary data about the demographics, of course, and also the death rate and of infants, and then feticide death rates, etc. So how authentic is that information? Can I bank on it? So again, that's a different process. There you have that Creative Commons at the end of the material, at the end of the link that you access to in your advanced search, you can you find this kind of logo at the bottom, CC, Creative Commons. That means it is licensed and it has restrictive. It is restricted in use. You can also make your text or information licensed and restrictive. So how authentic is the information? We should have the knowledge and the ability to discriminate between authentic and inauthentic information, avoiding plagiarism. Even if you're copying, that's very important. You know that voluminous information is available on internet, of course. So you cannot just grab and then copy information, but then you should also acknowledge it and then you should adapt the text, which I'm sure has become a serious concern now. Plagiarism is no more tolerant and no more considered a good academic practice, and it is considered unethical unless you acknowledge it, and then there is a limitation on the percentage of data that you copy from other sources, be it a paper or even thesis publication. All right. So that's very important to be, digital, to be informed. That is, you should be educated and should have the know-how of getting the right information, searching for right content, using right sources. Communication and collaboration, of course, digital communication tools, WhatsApp, video conferencing, Google Meets, etc. Online discussions, fine. Then third one is security. Yeah, this I'm sure all of you are practicing, and these days some of the banks have introduced the system of sending OTP even when you log in. Earlier, this was not the practice. SBI has been doing it. I'm sure you have experienced it, and maybe other banks also may be doing, Axis and ICICI, whatever private and nationalized banks. So this is to ensure safety and digital security. They have been, the banks have been introducing this more protective methods to safeguard the bankers from phishing and other attempts. And every 3 months, I think one should change the password. So digital security and privacy is again part of digital literacy, where one should take time and have patience to change the passwords. Media literacy, ability to critically analyze and evaluate media messages. Yeah, this is something which we have already discussed. So we will move on to the next slide. Yeah, and when we talk about other disciplines in humanities, you must be familiar with the interdisciplinary and intradisciplinary domains. That are connected to humanities. Earlier humanities, the field of humanities could be understood in terms of three schools, that is literature, language, and then linguistics and phonetics, of course. Those are the broader, segments. But then gradually, we have humanities discipline has been expanding exponentially, and research is carried out on various novel themes, such as medical humanities and digital humanities. People have been trying to research, people are trying to publish, submit projects, proposals on various novel themes like blue humanities, digital humanities, green humanities, ecocentrism, etc. Online. అది రెడీ చేసి పెడతావా రెడీ చేస్తావా కొన్ని ఆయనది మీ ఫార్మాట్ అడుగు ఒకసారి all right. So are you familiar, how many of you are familiar with these branches, interdisciplinary branches of humanities? So medical humanities, interestingly, focuses on health and illness aspects, often focusing on subjective, hidden, or invisible experiences. This is something interesting and very upcoming. You'll be surprised to know that research is being carried on topics like illness narratives, how language can be taught using illness narratives. It's an experience, like while I am sick. Last year, 2 years ago, I suffered COVID. What's been my experience during COVID pandemic times? So we never, life was scary, and we, it was hard to come back from, to make a comeback, to recover from COVID. Almost most of the families suffer. So that experience is totally different, and it is more intense, genuine. The theme may be different. But then when you look at the content, that's a new version and new perspective to language. People suffering from cancer and other traumatic diseases, young children suffering from cancer, and many other diseases, dreadful diseases. So the kind of life that they go through. So such themes and such material content, such writings, there are writers, literature, though limited in nature, but you do find digital narratives, people narrating about their trauma and how they overcome it, and how they come back to normalcy. So that is about medical humanities. And in that context, there is some research even on gerontology. Gerontology is, again, it's not just a study related to ailments or knee pains, but then old age, psychological problems which aging people undergo. So under medical humanities, you have all these elements. And I'm sure you would find it quite interesting that research is on in these untrodden disciplines as well. So digital humanities, I'm sure some of you have worked on it, like archiving material, music, history, etc. It is in practice. And some literature is yet to be captured and then digitized, be it folk literature, folklore, or any other historical phenomena that couldn't be digitized earlier. So digital humanities is a broader term which has many sub-domains in it. You have blue humanities related to ocean studies, and green humanities, now eco-literature, eco-poetics, environment, sustainable, uh, so develop, how do you sustain how do you become more reliant? So now humanities is also spreading into other domains, interdisciplinary domains. You find literature, so, as eco-literature, eco-poetics, geocentric poetry. So these are the terms which attract larger attention in the contemporary times. You have energy studies as well. So these are other disciplines of calling oneself digitally literate, especially with reference to humanities. Yeah, it rests on 4 principles. It's not that it is hayway and open-ended and then without any principles. It rests on 4 basic principles: digital literacy. So one is comprehension, extracting explicit and implicit ideas; interdependence, meaningfully connecting relevant and symbiotic digital media. Yeah, you become, of course, you work in collaboration. Connecting, collaboration, and you are interdependent. Collective work is necessitated. Then sharing timely and relevant data within relevant networks, that is social factors, storing and organizing data in accessible ways, which is termed as curation. So yeah, we have been doing it when we are aware of these terms, but then in a more systematic and organized way of looking at it, you can define or interpret them as, CISC, CISC kind of thing: comprehension, interdependence, social factors, and curation. Yeah, you have already mentioned about the kind of tools that you have been using in the classrooms, be it TED Talks, be it podcasts, be it various platforms, which of course, in Indian context, not all of them are useful, accessible, but I think Screencast-O-Matic, Vocaro, these are, Screencast-O-Matic is used to record your own presentation, and that can be posted on YouTube. Live recording is possible. Vocaro is another tool where you can record your voice. And then maybe you could, any additional information you feel you have missed out, some important explanation pertaining to a particular topic you feel can be shared, then it can be recorded thoroughly. So there are many other recording tools as well. So Vocaro is one such tool where you could record, you could read a passage and then forward it to, so change, to break the monotony, you could explore trying out these tools. Yes. So some of these we have already discussed: Google Forms, quizzes, surveys, formative assessment, online safety, cyberbullying, plagiarism, Grammarly, maybe you have used. So it is true that, its ability to use technology, navigate, evaluate, and create information. So in the process, you're also creating information when you design your tasks, when you edit a piece of audio recording or a documentary. So these tools provide the flexibility to edit the text as well. You can as well create your own question. Sometimes your own worksheet can be designed. Then these are essential elements of digital literacies. So critical, civic, confident, cognitive. These are mindsets and then skill sets: creative, communicative, constructive, and cultural. So one is overt and covert. Like covert skills or elements are four C's: critical, civic, confident, and cognitive. And overt behavior is tested through your creativity, communicative, sharing and engaging, constructive, and cultural expectations and behaviors associated with different environments. So these are the skill sets which one has to exhibit. Okay, this we have already seen. Let's move on to the tools. Yeah, this is what I was mentioning. One is Bard, and other one is Practica.ai, and the other one is Mango. So Bard at Google is similar to your ChatGPT. If you have already used ChatGPT, Bard is the latest version of ChatGPT. You can simply log in and type a question, and that will give you a response, which will clarify things to you. So be it any type of topic, any question, any information that you look for related to your research, related to your teaching, related to your professional growth, related to your academics and administration. So Bard is a generative AI. It is a generic name for AI models like ChatGPT and DALL-E that can create new content. So DALL-E 2 is also another, these are ChatGPT and DALL-E 2 are again online tools. ChatGPT you're familiar. DALL-E 2 is related to images. Like you type something and it will appear in the form of an image. If I want to see Shakespeare playing piano, then I'll type the words that will be converted to an image. So using pictures, images to teach language, be it writing or reading, integrating it into your lab, English language laboratory will definitely yield interesting results, will definitely motivate them. At least once in a while, DALL-E 2 also, you have to log in again. You will get some credentials and accordingly, you can use it like. So you can type anything, a girl with a rose. You will find that a beautiful girl holding a rose in her hand. You could view that. Or if you could say, want to view a garden with a children's park, you say. Or a mall, anything that you type will be converted into an image. So what are the functions of generative AIs? Can generally make video, audio, imagery. But as an AI chatbot, Bard focuses on creating text that answers your questions in a natural and conversational way. Yeah, Bard is only text creation platform. Bard, originally the name comes from poet, as in the Bard of Avalon and Shakespeare. So, with reference to linguistic capabilities. So, Bard is powered by Google's language model for dialogue applications. Language model for dialogue, Lambda. Practica is a second tool. It's an innovative AI avatar that enables you to learn and speak English language with the help of latest AI that acts as your personal teacher and native speaker. This is related to pronunciation, as I mentioned. Sentences, like earlier in the labs, we were using Globarina and other softwares, software developed by K-WAN and Young India Films, etc. So some of the colleges earlier used these software in which the exercises were built in and they will be displayed on the screen, and it is for the students to pronounce and record. That gets recorded. So similarly, you have on those guidelines, Practica is designed. It has 100 plus. Initially, you have 1 month's or 1 week's trial version. Otherwise, you have to pay the subscription to subscribe to it, and that then you could view 1,000 plus lessons. Unlimited practice. So basically, it is designed to help overcome language barriers. And it is available on, the app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. The third one is Mango languages. Wow, the name sounds quite intriguing. Perhaps Mango languages. It is like organic language acquisition, natural language acquisition. You have natural language, NLP processing, neuro language processing. Krashen talks about, affective filter, which will be lowered, which will be high if the student is subjected to, some kind of apprehension or nervousness. So language acquisition is possible when the affective filter is low in a natural way, when learning happens in a natural way. So likewise, organic language is a substitute for natural language acquisition. And it is synonymous with fruit mango, which is grown in a natural way, more naturistic approach or outlook. Spaced repetition, reinforcement exercises, color-coded translation, video content. And so it contains all these. It and emphasizes learning grammatical principles through realistic conversations. Features include interactive lessons, spaced repetition. Yeah, here again, they try to speak. You have the author speaking, real conversations. No, one, it's like an interview, for instance. They will ask you, as you, the context is, I'm going to attend an interview. Then the questions will pop up automatically based on the context. Yourself, I have to say, that will be recorded. After I give my response, at the end, again, it will review. There will be reinforcement exercises. So if I give another context, like meeting the doctor, so the AI will play as, doctor. Robo will play as an actor. Doctor. It will ask, tell me, good morning, where are you from? What's your problem? For how many days you have been experiencing? Then I will reply, I'm so-and-so. I have pain in my lower abdomen for the past 5 days. I've taken painkillers, but then it did not subside. Oh, the doctor says, I suggest you go for a CT scan or abdominal scan. And what is your weight? What kind of food have you been eating? Of late, I've not been eating any spicy food. So it's a conversation kind of role play inbuilt. That is Mango languages, it's called as. The app is called as Mango languages. So it basically focuses on help learners gain practical conversation skills through scientifically proven methodologies. All right. Generally, sometimes people look for this kind of information. They grope for ideas. How is my IS interview going to be? How is my group's interview going to be? So they could virtually, that's available on a platter for it. So that is kind of advancements that we have made in technology in catering to the needs of the current generation. So this is how actually, this is the link. If you click, it will take you there. Sorry. All right, I will try. Let me try to copy this. I'll share the link with you later. So it provides BARD AI, as I mentioned, it is all of this. It uses advanced natural language processing techniques to understand and respond to natural. And this is Practica.ai. These are the features. Click on http://practica.ai. It should take you through. Then Mango languages, this is a link. So all-in-one interface. It has recaps, interactive lessons, clear conversations and grammar goals, literary and dynamic translations. Yeah, we also need to bear in mind about the challenges that students encounter with respect to having access to technology, having limited access to internet or technology. So once we ensure that they could access optimally, then the implementation of these tools would be possible at whatever level. So I think these are some of the insights that I wanted to share with you. Digital literacy is taking organizations and moving them to a position where they can interact with, communicate with, and work with the community that is digitally enabled. I think that's the challenge. In achieving it, I think we are making a progressive move, though it is slow and steady, but definitely we would witness a revolutionary change in terms of implementing artificial intelligence, virtual reality into our teaching. You already are familiar that, about the use of VR, virtual reality. When they buy those lenses, the advanced lens that are designed to take the learner through the realia. If the student has to learn about the military warfare, how he has to fight, the kind of the army men go through, the kind of experience the army men go through while waging a war. He could view that live wearing those glasses and 3D technology. So, yeah, some of these are already available in the form of apps. But then to begin with, given the constraints that we undergo in the Indian context in the classrooms, given the administrative constraints, time constraints, and teacher-driven constraints, whatever is available, I think that can be optimally used. That should be your objective. That should be your motive as teachers, I feel. So with this, I conclude my session, and I invite your reflections, your observations, any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we have one question from Praveen sir. His question is, please explain how to decide on the genuineness of information available on the internet.
On the genuineness.
Genuineness, yes, of information available on the internet.
Thank you. Valid question. Now, any information you look for, here you have this taskbar search, advanced search you have, right? So sometimes at the bottom of the article, you find that it is licensed, CC, Creative Commons licensed version. See, like this, you find it. Is one of the several copyright licenses that enable the free distribution of an otherwise copyrighted work. So this link is shared actually. A CC license is used, wants to give other people the right to share, use and build upon a work that the author has created. So CC license is Creative Commons license. If it is, if an article or some piece of information has this logo or label, then that is one of the ways of considering it as, more authentic. And the author also can be, the work also can be considered as, more realistic and valid. That is one way. And here, of course, of the many tabs that you see here, of the many headings that you find, you have to go for the one which either PDF form, sometimes PDF versions are available. So PDF version is mostly authentic of any content that you look for. And do not easily trust validity of it. Like for instance, the source of this is what source is a journal. Is just journal authenticated? Again, how do you look at copy paste and look for indexing of the journal? If it is indexed in Scopus, SCI, WebEx or SSCI journals, then that will be considered authentic. Sometimes they are fake predatory journals also. So that list gets updated regularly. List of journals listed in Scopus year-wise. Some are rated as Q1 journals. Scopus, you have Q1, Q2. UGC Care, you have UGC Care 1 and Care 2 list. And WebEx, you have SSCI, Social Sciences Citation Index, ESCI, Emerging Sources Citation Index, etc. So you have to search for it. I cannot show it on the screen right now, but then you need to understand that every year this link gets updated, but I'll share it with how to view it. Those details I can definitely share with the organizer. I'll forward those search links for you so that with regard to authenticity of a paper, you can test in that manner.
Ma'am, we have one more question from YouTube live streaming, ma'am. The question is, how can we design and upload material? This question is from YouTube live streaming audience.
Yeah, it calls for, again, that's an interesting question. What kind of material do you have on mind? And how big is that? I need clarity on these aspects. When you say material and uploading on YouTube, is it a recording or is it a piece of written text? It can be, if it is a Google class, I think it can be done easily. Google Classroom, you have to create a Google Classroom, add your students to Google Classroom, and then there you can post the material. Similarly, for YouTube also, you have the procedure. You have the procedure for YouTube uploading. So whether it's a video, whatever, video also can be uploaded. Your own recording also can be uploaded. Screencast-O-Matic, that's the tool. You have to log in again, you have to start just like the way this session is getting recorded. That way it will be recorded, and copy the link and then go to YouTube, and then you have to paste it. The link of your recording. That's one way. And any material, in the sense reading material, also can be done using links. Creating a link for your text, whatever you have created.
Ma'am, we have one more question from Mr. Vamshi Krishna. What impact will commercialization and consolidation of digital content have on information?
It's quite a broader question. Let me take a relook at the question, please. Can you scroll down? Impact will commercialization and consolidation sorry. I think it will have a positive impact for a positive thinker. To be optimistic, I think as long as you're mindful of your ethics and your own, unless you're not condescending to misusing technology, I think it should yield positive results to save time. But then affecting employability when we excessively bank on technology, yeah, we may not need as many hands as we do now. But then, see, world is an oyster, I feel. There are many other opportunities where employment can be created, if not in this field. If there is a threat of people being sacked from one organization, I think elsewhere they can be adapted. But then digitization is something which they have to be digital savvy. That is essential. That would become a prerequisite, without which survival would be at stake. I don't know if I've answered your question right, because that was too an abstract kind of question.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for your insightful lecture. On behalf of BIET, I convey my gratitude to our speaker, Dr. Madhavi ma'am, for accepting our invitation. And special thanks to all the participants. The session continues tomorrow. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. And I thank all the participants once again. This is Zehra Tahir signing off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.